everyone, it's Jen Blum from the Help Save Foundation. We're in the month of October and that's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The team and I decided we're going to take questions that are a little bit more personal. Our question today comes from Julie in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Julie has a friend that's been in and out of a domestic violence relationship for many years. She leaves and she comes back. Julie wants to know how long I was in a domestic violence relationship and what was the final straw that made me leave. Let's just start by giving you the statistics of the average. The average person leaves a domestic violence relationship 7 times before they actually leave for good. For me personally, I had left and come back more times than I choose to remember. In fact, it was so many times that I had a bag that was packed in the back of my car. Luckily, we had a house that we would go to when I didn't think that I was going to make it through the night, or if things were really bad in the house and I really needed to escape. We were lucky enough to have a house that we went to where we felt protected and my children felt protected and we could sleep, let things kind of blow over. And those people also knew that I had to go back, and they knew why I had to go back, and they never judged me. So that was very important. So back to how many times I went and came back and went and came back, again, I can't remember. However, I do remember 3 specific instances that were horrifying for me. And they were reasons that I knew at the end of the day, I felt that I was never going to be able to leave. The first one was about 6 months into my relationship with my abuser. I had been drugged and I had confronted him about it, and his response was to snatch me up, put me in his truck, and proceed to tell me that he was going to drive me to my parents' house and he was going to murder my parents and I was going to watch. He literally drove me within a block of my parents' house while I was screaming, trying to get out of the truck, just in absolute hysterics, scared so badly that my parents were going to die and that I was going to have to watch this happen. Therefore, I didn't leave. The second time he was in Florida, and I had received a phone call from a woman telling me that she was spending time with him and yada yada yada. And so when he had called that night, I said to him that I was packing my bags and I was leaving. I was here in Massachusetts, he was in Florida. So I proceeded to pack my bags all night long. The next morning, the doorbell rang. It was him at the door. He took the first flight from Florida to Massachusetts, stood at the door, had me answer the door, so that I again knew there was no chance that I was leaving. The last time that I can remember specifically that had such an impact on me, I had already had my children. My youngest son was 1, my oldest son was 6. We had gotten into an argument. He had told me that he was going to take care of me once and for all. He went into our basement to retrieve his gun, at which point I was running out the door with both of my children. We were able to get around the house. I was not able to make it to my car before he was standing there with a gun. I was on my knees, I'll never forget, one child in my arms, the other child right beside me, pleading for my life. It's instances like those that make it very hard to leave a domestic violence relationship. So did I come and go many times? Yes, I did 13 years in domestic violence. And actually, I did 2 years past my 13 years because even when I got away from my abuser, he was still abusing me mentally and emotionally, calling every single day, never letting up, all hours of the night, begging and pleading to come back, begging and pleading for me to take him back, telling me how sorry he was. I'll tell you what, if you've ever been in a situation like that, it's very emotionally draining. There are some points in which you just want to say, yes, I will go back, because I just couldn't take him calling and being so persistent and never stopping. So we are in fear, and fear, again, as I've said in some of my previous videos, was a major factor for me. But how I'm going to do this is the video for that, and then the next video we have for next week, I'm going to go over what the last straw was, the very last thing that had made me come forward. Subscribe to our video blog, the Help Save Foundation. See you next week.